Here's the list of the top 10 NCAA D1 women's hockey programs as of 2022. Number 1, we got... What's going on, guys? This is Braden from Advancement Hockey Advising here. Today, we'll be talking about the top 10 NCAA D1 women's hockey programs as of 2022. So after popular requests here from a lot of women hockey players out here, we're finally giving out a women's hockey rankings video. And I know we've been doing a whole bunch of men's hockey stuff, and I know women's hockey, you guys have been feeling neglected out here. Well, here we are finally giving it to you guys. So the big reason why we haven't, cranked out as much content on the women's side of things is because, quite frankly, I'm not an expert in women's hockey. I've seen women's hockey, I know the gist of it, but I don't know all the leagues inside and out. I don't know all the nuance that I do on the guys side of things, which is why we hire female advisors to help, women hockey players out there navigate the women's hockey world, because it's a completely different beast than the guys side. On that note here, I want to give a special shout out to Shali Goudreau, our lead women's advisor here on AHA, for helping us with this list. Obviously, I did some research of my own and everything, but she was really the contributing factor and the final voice as to what these rankings look like. So thank you again, Shali. Hopefully you guys do enjoy it here. So in terms of the criteria that we use, it's basically what we use for most of our videos here, which is the average 5 years of the My Hockey rankings of NCAA D1 programs here on the women's side of things. So basically the last 5 years minus the COVID year, because most hockey programs didn't play all that much or didn't play at all and all that kind of stuff. So we deleted that year for the rankings. So it's basically in the past 5 years, the 4 hockey seasons where they played their full seasons. Those are the years that we're going to be using, and we're going to be using the ranking of the My Hockey rankings for each year, averaging them up and then giving a total final score at the end. And from that score, that's how we rank top teams all the way to the lower end teams. Basically, with a lower score, let's say you got a total score of 8, that's really, really good. So that's going to bring it to the higher end of the rankings. Whereas if you got a score of like 63 or 65 or whatever, that'll bring you to the lower end of the rankings. So hopefully that makes sense with you guys. We do look at advancements to pro or advancements to wherever the next level is for that particular hockey stage. We do look at that usually, but in this case in women's hockey, the stats, everything's not that recorded online. It was really hard to keep track. It's a little bit different. So in this case, we did not use this metric. So the main metric that we used is the 5-year My Hockey ranking average. And last but not least, before we dive into the content here, what would an AHA video be without me asking you to absolutely destroy that like button as always? And if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss another video moving forward. All right, guys, let's dive right into the rankings here of the top 10 women's hockey programs as of 2022. All right, so the top 2 here in women's hockey NCAA D1 is really consistent year by year. But basically at number 1 here, we got the University of Wisconsin. And you'll see why in a sec. So let's look at their stats. So the past season, they had a score of number 3 on My Hockey rankings. The season before that, they had a score of 2. The one before that was 1. And the one before that, they also ranked number 1 with a total score of 7. So really, really low. Probably the best score I think I've seen out of all the teams that we've ranked so far, even on the guys' side. So Wisconsin consistently at number 1 here in the My Hockey rankings. I think there's nothing left to say that they're number 1 for a reason. They're consistently high on the list. All right, now at number 2 on our list here is the University of Minnesota. And these guys aren't too far behind from the University of Wisconsin. So basically their stats are number 2 for the past season. So slightly better than Wisconsin. Maybe an argument could be made that they could potentially, go over them. But for now, we got them at number 2. Before that, it was number 1. Before that, it was number 2. And then before that, it was number 5, okay? With a total score of 10. So I think it's because of that last season that they played, the most previous one, that one at number 5, it really kind of hurt them a little bit to fall just under Wisconsin. But let's see maybe next year when we redo the rankings here, if they have a really good year next year where they're at number 1 or 2 and they surpass Wisconsin, there could be a chance here that we could see U of Minnesota go on top. But again, these guys are like a 1A, 1B. They're really neck and neck, really solid programs to go to overall. All right, now moving on to number 3 here, which is Ohio State. And let's dive right into the rankings here. So basically last season, they were at number 1. So they were the best team last season according to My Hockey rankings. The one before that, they were at number 5. The one before that, number 6. And the one before that also at number 6 with a total score of 18. So you see there's like these top 2 teams, right? And now there's Ohio State at number 3. That's just slight tier under. But that being said, if they have really good years moving forward, they could climb into that top 2 position if they keep having good years. So as we do the rankings, next year and the one after, we'll We'll see, only time will tell. But for now, Ohio State's at number 3. All right, now moving on to number 4 on our list here, which is Northeastern. Now, this school is really good academically, especially if we want to go into something like engineering. They have a really big focus on that. They're located in Boston, so it's a really nice school to go to. I've been on the campus personally. Really gorgeous school, great campus. In terms of rankings though, so they are at number 6 for the past season, number 4 for the one before that, number 3 for the one before that, and then number 8 for the one before that as well, with a total score of 41. Basically always in the top, top 6, top 5-ish, every single year. Consistently always good, but not consistently number 1, which is why they're ranked at number 4 overall with a total score of 21 here. All right, now moving on to number 5 on our list here, which is Clarkson. Another really good school to go to. Always a good hockey program as well. So let's dive into the ranking here. So basically number 10 for the season, the past season that just happened. Number 9 for the season before that. Number 4 for the season before that. And then number 2 for the season before that with a total score of 25. So basically here, Clarkson's in the opposite situation as Ohio State here. Instead of, progressively getting better, they progressively kind of dropped off a little bit. So hopefully this isn't the trend for them and they can kind of rise back up to get them more higher in the rankings or keep their spot. But we'll only see as time goes on for next year and the year to follow to see if they continue this trend of dropping off or, rise back up somehow. So stay tuned for that for the following years. All right, so at number 6 here, we got our first Ivy League program, which is Cornell University. So let's dive into the rankings and then I'll talk about Cornell just a little bit. So last season, they had a score of 13. The season before that, they had a score of 3. The one before that, they had a score of 7. And then the one before that, they had a score of 7 as well, with a total score of 30, okay? So pretty much average, always doing, relatively well in the top 10 most seasons, except for the most recent one. Hopefully that's just a one-off and that they keep playing well. But overall, these guys are number 6. They have a really solid hockey program, obviously. But that being said, their education is stellar, right? Any Ivy League school has the best education. If you really value academics and you get a school like Cornell recruiting you and a school, let's say, like Wisconsin that's at number 1 recruiting you, but you really value academics. Nothing against Wisconsin, they got a good education program too. But if academics, especially certain niches of academics like engineering, certain sciences, all that stuff, if you really value that as a player and as a student, maybe picking Cornell could make more sense for you if the financial situation's right and if the campus feel and all the other things are right too, right? Obviously, it's hard to make a decision just off a video without the facts. If you value academics, it's something worth considering, even though they might be slightly lower on the rankings here. All right, now moving on to number 7 here, we got Colgate. So Colgate, basically last season, they were at number 5. The season before that, they were at number 10. The season before that, they were at 12. And the one before that, they were ranked at 4 with a total score of 31. So just 1 point shy under Cornell. So these guys are really neck and neck. Just looking at the trends real quick. Recently, Colgate's been a little bit better compared to Cornell, but before that, Cornell was a little bit better. So these guys are really neck and neck. You can put them as 6A and 6B pretty much, and you'd be fine. Also too, in terms of education, Colgate is very, very good. And I've seen their campus before. It's one of the nicest campuses I've ever seen. It's absolutely gorgeous for anyone who goes there. So if you like the campus feel, if you value academics, and you get, a good recruiting package with Colgate, it's definitely a really, really good program to go to. All right, now moving on to number 8 on our list here, it is Minnesota Duluth. So let's dive right into the rankings here with them. Last season, they actually finished at number 4. The one before that, they finished at number 6. The one before that at 10. And then the one before that, 16, with a total score of 36, okay? This is interesting here because these guys are really starting to improve in the past seasons. So if they continue this trend, I could see these guys being the dark horse that's really gonna jump up the rankings, probably the most out of any other team on this list from what I can see here. So hopefully they continue that trend and we can see them higher in the rankings in the following year. All right, now moving on to number 9 on our list here is Boston College. These guys are renowned in hockey. Always a powerhouse program on the men's side anyways, and on the women's side too. It's always been a name in hockey that's always been very big, right? So let's dive into the specific rankings here. So actually number 19 the past season, so definitely not up to standard to what they're typically used to. The one before that, 15. The one before that, 5. And then the one before that, 3. So here Boston College, you're kind of seeing that regression pattern here. So hopefully this is only a couple seasons where they didn't rank as high, and next season they can really, crush it like they're normally normally used to. Hopefully they kind of reverse that trend and start going upwards. Only time will tell. We'll see in next year's rankings. And finally, at number 10 here on the rankings is Boston University. The counterpart to Boston College, always a big rival and always another big name in hockey, both on the men's side and on the women's side as well. So in terms of the rankings here, last season they finished at number 25, okay? So definitely a big drop off. The season before that at number 8, the season before that at number 8 as well, and then the season before that at number 13, with a total score of 54 compared to Boston College that was 42, right? So it is quite a big drop off, and I think it's the most recent season they really didn't have a good season in terms of the My Hockey ranking. So hopefully it's just a one-off, and the following season that they really, you know, excel and do well and get back on track like they're normally used to here. And there you have it. That's pretty much the rankings on the women's side. And to be honest, even though I don't know that much about women's hockey, it's really close to, you know, men's hockey. The programs that I thought were going to come up on this list really did show up here. So I think, you know, not knowing too much about it, I feel like this list makes a lot of sense based on the My Hockey rankings and based on the overall caliber. I think it makes a lot of sense to kind of rank this way. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there, you know, saying this is controversial, this isn't right, what about this team, what about that team? If there's anything that you guys disagree with, any teams that we missed, definitely drop them down in the comments below and we'll take a look at them for next year's rankings. And now, just as a quick recap, here's the list of the top 10 NCAA D1 women's hockey programs as of 2022. Number 1, we got Wisconsin. Number 2, we got University of Minnesota. Number 3, we've got Ohio State. Number 4, we got Northeastern. Number 5, we've got Clarkson. Number 6, we've got Cornell. Number 7, we've got Colgate. Number 8, we've got Minnesota Duluth. Number 9, we've got Boston College. And then number 10, we've got Boston University. All right, guys, that is a wrap for the video. Hopefully you guys got some value out of it. Shout out again to Shali Goudreau, our lead advisor here on the women's side at AHA, for helping us create this list and putting it together. We couldn't have done it without her. If you had any questions, anything whatsoever throughout this video, feel free to drop a comment down below, or if there's anything that you guys disagreed with. Also, too, if you want to reach out to us about anything, you can also send us a private email, info@ahadvising.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. As always, just a quick reminder to absolutely destroy that like button if you haven't already. It goes a long way. And if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss another video moving forward. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you on that next one.